Welcome to the Fast Leader Podcast, where we uncover the leadership life hacks that help you to experience breakout performance faster and rocket to success. And now, here's your host, customer and employee engagement expert and certified emotional intelligence practitioner, Jim Rimbach.
The number one thing that contributes to customer loyalty is emotions. So move onward and upward faster by gaining significantly deeper insight and understanding of your customer journey and personas with emotional intelligence. With your empathy mapping workshop, you'll learn how to evoke and influence the right customer emotions that generate improved customer loyalty and reduce your cost to operate. Get over your emotional hump now by going to empathymapping.com to learn more. Okay, Fast Leader Legion, today I'm excited because I get to talk and present to you somebody who it really gets into one of the things that I have a passion for, and that's innovation. Kumar Mehta grew up in Bombay, India, and went to the University of Iowa for his doctoral degree in pharmaceutical socioeconomics. The first thing he noticed when he arrived, besides how friendly Iowans are, was that there were likely more people that lived on his street in Bombay than in the entire city of Iowa City. His father was a doctor, an accomplished surgeon who spent half his professional career working for free, the other half to support his family. This taught Kumar at an early age to give to society. Kumar had a broad variety of careers. His education and early work was in pharmaceuticals. From there, he spent almost 14 years in the technology industry working at Microsoft. From there, he was CEO of a large data analytics company and now is in his fourth career writing, speaking, and thinking about innovation. He believes that innovation is one of the constants that has enhanced human life since the beginning of time and is committed to providing knowledge that enhances the rate of innovation. In addition to his focus on innovation, Kumar serves on the board of the Committee for Children, the nation's largest nonprofit focused on social and emotional learning for children. He also serves as a senior research fellow at the University of Southern California's Center for the Digital Future. Kumar lives in Seattle with his wife Pallavi and plays more golf than any human should, though he thinks it's not enough. She is a Seattle tech CFO, and his son is pursuing a master's degree at the University of Chicago, and his daughter, also from the University of Chicago, is in Oakland teaching middle school math as part of Teach for America. Kumar Mehta, are you ready to help us get over the hump?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks. It's great to be here, and thanks for having me here.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on the show because of the work that you've been doing on this particular topic is something that I have a passion for myself, and I love bringing out folks like you who've really made some headway in how we can all do a better job at innovating. And I've given our Legion a little bit about you, but can you tell us what your current passion is so that we can get to know you even better?
Yeah, so my current passion is removing misunderstandings, fallacies, removing all the cloud and the uncertainty around innovation, and trying to really cut to get to really what is innovation, how can companies innovate. The guiding principle behind all the work I do is that when companies innovate, all of our lives get better. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, that if organizations, nonprofits, for-profits, big companies, small companies, if they just understand the foundational building blocks of innovation, how innovation can happen, how it has happened from the beginning of time, that's the only way that all of our lives will get enhanced, whether there's innovations in pharmaceuticals, whether there's new things in technology, whether we have a new iPhone or a new cure for an uncurable disease.
I mean, for me, as I started reading through, your new book, The Innovation Biome, I think one part that you just said it's critically important is that I didn't even realize all the different aspects of innovation. And you even, talk about how innovation can be described, and you list just a few terms. You have product innovation, process innovation, service innovation, platform innovation, business model innovation, frugal innovation, radical innovation, open innovation, architect. It goes on. And you said that there's really over 100 different types of innovation. To me, I was just astounded. It's no wonder why we're having trouble moving forward, because there's so many different things. And you also had mentioned about depending on the type of innovation that you're actually trying to undergo, is that you have to use unique tools for that type of innovation, because if you use the wrong tools, you're going to fail to begin with.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So most people that talk about innovation invariably have a solution. Either they're a consulting company with a solution, or they're a software platform, or they're someone who has what they believe is the solution to innovation, and that's what they pitch. Now, that's one tool. There's nothing wrong with whatever they've come up with, though. Very likely it's kind of well-grounded, well-reasoned, it works. But when you try to apply it to everything, then it's almost like using a square peg in a round hole. It's just not going to work. So you have to match the activities you need to do for the kinds of outcomes you want to generate. And that is often not viewed in by people studying or presenting innovation.
I mean, to me, one of the things that you had talked about in order to try to, I guess, reel things in and be a little bit more focused so that people weren't all over the place with their thinking about innovation is you talked about experiential innovation. Mm-hmm. What is that?
So experiential innovation is about changing experiences. All the innovations that we've encountered in our lives have changed human experience. And the bigger the experience change, the bigger the innovation. Now, some of them are brand new things. So for example, the invention of an automobile was a brand new thing, or the invention of the airplane was a brand new thing, or the creation of the internet was a brand new thing. But applying the internet to online commerce or online banking has changed our experiences forever. Taking the airplane and applying it to commercial aviation changes our experience forever. So experiential innovation is all about changing human experiences. It could be a new thing, but in many cases, it's connecting dots. So for example, the iPhone, one of the innovations that all of us use and enjoy every day, is basically connecting dots. There was GPS technology, there were touch screens, there were all these things that were out there. The web browser was there, mobile technology was there, and putting them all together in this beautiful package that we can't live without, that is connecting the dots, and that is experiential innovation.
Well, I think thanks for sharing that, because I mean, one of the things that I have always talked about, and you'll have to tell me and correct me if I was sending people down the wrong path, is that I think it was a fallacy for me and is for many people that innovation is that light bulb moment where it's all of a sudden something just comes in front of me and it's totally revolutionary. But when you think about innovation, it doesn't seem like that's the way it works. It is the dot connecting thing. It's like I take this thing, and then therefore do some synergistic type of activity to it, and now I have something new.
Correct. Yes, innovation is never a light bulb. I mean, very often a light bulb goes off in people's minds when they see something, but it's almost always building on something else. If you look at the light bulb, I mean, literally the invention of the light bulb, no pun intended here. Before Thomas Edison's light bulb, there were dozens of other light bulbs that were invented. His light bulb was special because it lasted longer, but it was a build of everything else that was done so far. And the other thing he had done also was he had created an entire cluster of value around an electric meter and all these different things, that the surrounding things that were necessary to make an innovation viable and make it the one. But invariably, every innovation has always been worked on simultaneously by other people, and it's always an iterative thing. And there are so many examples, and sometimes examples cut across industries. So if you take contact lenses, for example, an innovation that millions of people use, and it's been a fantastic innovation in corrective vision. The notion that you can use lenses covering your eyes had been around for a very long time, but it was just not feasible to create contact lenses because no one could take molds of your sensitive corneal tissue because it was just too painful. You just can't go and measure. And so that innovation sat dormant for decades, for I think it was like 60 years. And completely unrelated comes another innovation called anesthesia. And that was for something else, something completely unrelated. And all of a sudden, these two meet. And now with the availability of anesthesia, you're able to take molds of people's corneal tissue and people's eyes, and therefore contact lenses. Something that was dormant for decades got new life and now became a viable thing that all of us can use.
When you start talking about all of these different types of innovation frameworks, and that when I had the opportunity to interview Dr. K.H. Kim from William and Mary, who wrote the book, The Creativity Challenge, why, we are actually having problems, with one of the things that you talk about in the book, where we're spending more and more money on research and development so that we can innovate. And but the return on that dollar is continuing to shrink over time. So we're producing less and less creative thought and innovations. Is that companies really have to do a better job of, first of all, knowing the problems with that and addressing that, and then also creating the proper frameworks, of course, culture and all of those things, in order to be able to capitalize and have innovation occur. So you talk about a model called the CARE model. What does that do for folks?
Yeah, so the CARE model basically lets you understand and lets you see what you're doing. So the CARE model is basically 4 things that companies do. And every company does these 4 things in varying degrees in order to stay in business. The first are the core activities, things you just have to do to keep the lights running, whether it's building, manufacturing, selling, doing accounting, finance, doing all the stuff you need to do to keep your business going. The second set of activities you do is advancement activities. You're improving upon what you've already done. So you're building the next generation of your car or of your smartphone or of your laundry detergent, or you're taking what you have and making it better or selling it to more people or selling it in more countries. You're just improving upon what you're doing, improving your processes or your products. The third set of activities are the reframing activities. And these are activities where you do entirely new things. This is what's cooked up in R&D labs, things that the world has never seen. And these are, just the development of something brand new. And the last set of activities, and this is not done often enough, are the experiential activities, as we just talked about, is not necessarily coming up with something brand new, but creating new value from things that are already there. So companies who want to innovate and who want to have these fantastic, groundbreaking, earth-shattering innovations that they're all thirsting for, very often don't even know what they're doing. So they have this big R&D spend, they have all these different efforts, but they don't know, how much time, energy, resources they're putting towards advancement activities or reframing activities or experiential activities. And in many cases, each of these activities, as we talked about earlier, require different tools and different approaches. So you need to first understand what you're doing, and then you match the right tools and approaches to doing them. And if you don't do that, then innovation just becomes a shot in the dark. It may happen, it may not happen. But if you systematically think about it, your chances of being releasing breakthrough innovation enhance substantially.
So I guess what they say is, serendipity is not a good business model.
It can be good, but you can't count on it. You can't predict it.
Definitely not. Okay, so I also would think that a lot of people, may say, well, the whole R&D and innovative, types of things are really reserved for, those huge companies or those companies that are in certain sectors that are huge, or for the startup. Nobody else could really, do any innovation. But you say that's not quite true. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't give up. And that's part of what you talk about in the innovation biome. But what did you really mean by that?
Yeah, I think everybody can be innovative, and I think everybody is innovative. So one of the problems with companies is that they just believe they're not innovative, and they look outside and they see all these cool startups doing all these great things, and they say, I need to bring that culture in. I need to become like them. So I need to create my own startup, or I need to do something like that. Now, one of the things that people don't realize, in fact, there was a study done by the Kauffman Foundation, was that I think it was 75% of people who go and start successful startups come from these very companies. So the entrepreneurial talent is there, unlike the vision we have of these, geniuses who from a very young age do these incredible things. And there are many of those. The large majority of startups are started by people who've spent 6 or more years in a larger company, and the average age of a startup founder is closer to 40. So one of the points I make in the book is that companies have that talent. You just need to recognize it and give it the environment to thrive. Otherwise, these people with great ideas, these entrepreneurial people, are going to leave and go and start their own startups. But if the larger companies allowed them and gave them the ability and the rewards and the motivation and everything else, they're more likely to be successful. 80 to 90% of startups fail. But if these great ideas had the resources and backing of a large company, the brand and all the things that the large company brings, there's absolutely no reason why every company cannot become more innovative.
So I dare to say that when we start talking about innovation, when we start talking about, trying and failing, when we start talking about, maybe being that creative thinker who wants to be innovative and being in an environment that squashes you. There's a whole lot of emotion that's associated with all of this. And one of the things that we look for on the show our quotes, to help inspire us and get us moving in a certain direction or kickstart us. Is there a quote or two that you like that you can share?
There's one quote that I wrote in the book, which is innovation is not about the value in creating ideas. It's about ideas creating value. Now, that is something that's a quote that's been picked up that I wrote in the book. But if I look outside, I think the quote that drives me is be the change you wish to see in the world. And this is a quote that drives and guides many people, but it's something that I think is just a brilliant quote that I try to aspire to.
Thanks for sharing that. Now, I know, too, when we start talking about, probably your path as well as many other paths, and definitely the path of innovation and the trying and the failing and the learning and all of that stuff, there's a lot of humps that we have to get over, in order to finally, get that breakthrough moment. But is there a time where you've had to get over the hump that you can share?
Yeah, I've always had to get over the hump because my career has been going from one brand new thing to another. So after studying pharmaceuticals, I wanted to move to Seattle, and I ended up joining at the time a relatively smaller company called Microsoft. And I knew nothing about technology. All my education and work was in pharmaceuticals, and I had to get over the hump, the learning curve of understanding some pretty technical stuff to be successful at Microsoft. So after Microsoft, I was the CEO of a large company of over 1,200 people called Blue Ocean Market Intelligence. And I'd never been a CEO before. I didn't know how to do it. And going from a company like Microsoft, where just the fact that you have Microsoft in your business card gives you a position of authority, going to a company that not many people have heard of, it was a culture shock for me that people didn't respond or didn't reply to my phone calls or emails. And that was like, wait a second, everyone replies to my email. And I had to realize that, not to take it personally. It's that, hey, everyone wants to talk to somebody from Microsoft. Not everyone. And the very same people don't want to talk to you if you're, at some no-name company or a smaller company. And I had to just remind myself that, hey, this is possible, with the push, with innovation, with thinking, with thinking in a new way about things, there will always be someone who'll listen. All you have to do is find those people who listen. So again, now, as I start a new career, it's not really a new career, but as I start my career into writing and speaking and educating people on innovation, it's kind of back to the same thing. People say, hey, there's so much written about innovation, there's so many books, and then I got to re-educate people and level set them.
Thanks for sharing that. I mean, as you were talking, I started seeing that you've had, continuous, resiliency. And when you start, talking about, that innovative spirit and creating innovation, and when people start coming up with new ideas, and even when you start talking about, the contact lens thing being shelved for, 60 years before it was able to be, come to play, is that innovation is not a quick thing. It seems like it's a very long-term play. So how important is resiliency and persistence in innovation?
It is incredibly important because companies that are chasing the big breakthrough are never going to get it. Now, the only way to get that big breakthrough is to have thousands of things happen all the time and every day. And it's when you have all those little things happen that something breaks through into something big. Every company we can think of, when you think of the most innovative companies in your mind, every single one of them has had more failures than successes and more misses than hits. But we just think about the one hit because it so overwhelmingly dominates everything that the company does. And we don't think about the hundreds of failures that have gone towards making that. And so being innovative is not a one-shot thing. It's not a one-time deal. It's that's what the innovation biome is. It's a culture. It's an environment where innovation happens all the time. And when you have that innovation happening all the time, you're going to get rewarded far more than you can ever imagine.
Well, and I would dare, based on what you were just saying and just thinking about things myself, is that there's a whole lot of failure that's going on, and you have to have a strong community to be able to pick one another up, in addition to yourself, so that you can ultimately, get to that big prize. Okay, so I know, you talk about this transition that you're going through right now, trying to, you have the book, you're trying to do some speaking, and actually increase, your exposure and teach people so that we can actually, turn around this poor, return on investment on, R&D spend. And, definitely wish that, I can help you in some way possible. But when you start thinking about all of those things that you have, including your golf game, on your plate, what's one of your goals?
So my goal is actually a pretty broad goal. So what's driving me is actually when I retired from being the CEO of my company was that I wanted to impact 1 million lives in a positive fashion. And then I kind of thought, why 1 million? Why not a bigger number? And I figured that the only way I can impact lives is by helping organizations how to innovate, is by kind of providing the real knowledge, not selling something, not selling a tool, not selling an approach, just kind of taking innovation, breaking it down into its components and educating people that, hey, if you really want to innovate, here's what you can do. And as companies innovate, all of our lives get better. So that's the impact I can have is through this kind of leverage.
And the Fast Leader Legion wishes you the very best. Now, before we move on, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. An Even Better Place to Work is an easy-to-use solution that improves the empathy and emotional intelligence skills in everyone. It provides a continuous diagnostic on employee engagement and provides integrated activities that will improve the leadership and collaboration skills in everyone. This award-winning solution is guaranteed to create motivated, productive, and higher-performing employees that have great working relationships with their colleagues and your customers. To learn more about An Even Better Place to Work, visit beyondmorale.com/better. All right, here we go, Fast Leader Legion. It's time for the Hump Day Hoedown. Okay, Kumar, the Hump Day Hoedown is the part of our show where you give us good insights fast. So I'm going to ask you several questions, and your job is to give us robust yet rapid responses that are going to help us move onward and upward faster. Kumar Mehta, are you ready to hoedown?
Yes.
All right. What do you think is holding you back from being an even better leader today?
Myself.
What is the best leadership advice you have ever received?
Trust yourself and be committed to what you want to do.
What is one of your secrets that you believe contributes to your success?
Empathy.
What do you feel is one of your best tools that helps you lead in business or life?
Everyone around me.
What would be one book that you'd recommend to our listeners? And it could be from any genre. Of course, we're going to put a link to the innovation biome on your show notes page as well.
I picked my favorite book from when I was a child, The Godfather.
Okay, Fast Leader Legion, you can find links to that and other bonus information from today's show by going to fastleader.net/Kumar Mehta. Okay, Kumar, this is my last Hump Day Hoedown question. Imagine you were given the opportunity to go back to the age of 25, and you've been given the opportunity to take the knowledge and skills that you have now back with you. But you can't take everything back. You can only choose one. So what skill or piece of knowledge would you take back with you, and why?
I take back my self-belief and my confidence and the ability to trust myself. When I was 25, I probably didn't trust myself enough and I was unsure. But you have to believe that you know more than you give yourself credit for. And if you just believe and commit to whatever you're out to do, you're very likely to succeed.
Kumar, it was an honor to spend time with you today. Can you please share with the Fast Leader Legion how they can connect with you?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn or go to my website, kumarmehta.com. That's KUMARMEHTA.com. Or just email me at kumar@bridgesinsight, BRIDGESINSIGHT.com.
Kumar Mehta, thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. The Fast Leader Legion honors you and thanks you for helping us get over the hump. Thank you for joining me on the Fast Leader Show today. For recaps, links from every show, special offers, and access to download and subscribe, if you haven't already, head on over to fastleader.net so we can help you move onward and upward faster.